You're probably scrolling through a sea of gaming laptops, wondering which one will actually let you game hard, edit videos, and still feel comfortable on a coffee shop table without breaking the bank. The fear of splurging on a machine that looks great on paper but ends up throttling under real-world loads is real, and the last thing you need is a laptop that feels like a desktop on a leash. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The msi Crosshair 18HX lands squarely in the big screen, high-performance niche. It's an 18-inch machine, so the first thing you notice is the size. The chassis is bigger than a typical 15-inch laptop, and that extra real estate lets MSI pack a 240Hz QHD Plus panel that's surprisingly bright and covers the whole DCI-P3 color gamut. In practice, that means you can spot enemies in fast-paced shooters the moment they pop up, and you'll also get that crisp, wide-angle workspace when you're cutting footage or rendering 3D scenes. The 24-zone RGB keyboard isn't just for show either. The zones can be programmed to light up for specific games, giving you visual cues without looking at the screen. Under the hood lives Intel's Core Ultra 9275HX, a 24-core beast built on the latest architecture. In day-to-day use, the extra cores shine when you have multiple programs running, say, Discord, OBS, and a browser tab full of research while you're playing. The RTX 5070 with 8GB of GDDR7 memory handles modern titles at QHD with the high refresh you expect, and it also accelerates creative workloads like Photoshop or Blender. What matters more than raw numbers is how the laptop behaves when you push it. In real testing, the GPU stays clocked high for extended sessions, and the cooling system, which uses a dual fan and vapor chamber design, manages to keep temperatures in the low 80s Celsius during a 3-hour gaming marathon. You'll hear the fans spin up, but they stay reasonably quiet unless you're in a quiet library, in which case you might want to lower the graphics settings a notch. Battery life is the trade-off you'll feel immediately. With a 99Wh cell, the Crosshair 18 can give you about 3 to 4 hours of mixed-use gaming, streaming, a bit of editing before you need to plug in. That's typical for a laptop with this power envelope, but it means you shouldn't count on it for a full workday away from a wall outlet. The power brick is chunky, too, so the laptop isn't something you'll toss into a backpack for a commute. If you need a machine that can survive a full day of classes or meetings on a single charge, you'll be better off looking at a smaller 15-inch model with a more modest GPU. Port selection is surprisingly generous for a laptop this size. You get a HDMI 2.1 port on the rear, which means you can hook the machine up to a 4K TV or a high-refresh external monitor without needing an adapter. There's also a USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 port for legacy peripherals, a full-size RJ45 Ethernet jack for rock-solid wired networking, and a couple of USB-C slots that support both data and display output. In everyday use, that translates to a tidy desk setup, one cable for power, one for a monitor, and you still have room for a mouse and external SSD without reaching for a dongle. The downside is the lack of a Thunderbolt 4 port, which some power users miss for fast external storage or docking station compatibility. Storage and memory feel future-proof. The 1TB PCIe SSD loads Windows and games in seconds, and the 32GB of DDR5 RAM means you can keep large textures in memory while you're editing 4K video. The SSD is user-replaceable, so if you ever need more space, you can swap a second drive in without taking the whole machine apart. That level of expandability is something you rarely see in laptops that push a 240Hz panel, and it adds real value for creators who accumulate massive project files. So who should actually consider the Crosshair 18? If you're a competitive gamer who refuses to compromise on frame rates at QHD, or a content creator who wants a single device that can both stream high-quality gameplay and render 3D models without a desktop, this laptop checks the boxes. It's also a good fit for people who already have a dedicated workstation but need a portable powerhouse for travel, conventions, or LAN parties where a desktop isn't an option. The combination of a large, fast display, a high core count CPU, and a strong GPU makes the machine feel balanced across both gaming and professional workloads. who should walk away? If you prioritize ultra-lightweight, long battery endurance, or a modest budget, the Crosshair 18 will feel like a compromise. Its size and power draw make it less suited for students who carry their laptop all day or for freelancers who work from cafes with limited outlets. Likewise, if you're hunting for a laptop that can double as a daily driver for office work, you'll probably appreciate a smaller, more energy-efficient model that still offers decent performance. In the end, the value of the MSI Crosshair 18 isn't just in its headline.